The Sports Source Saturday Kickoff is presented by Rusty Wallace Kia of Knoxville on Callahan Drive and by the Garza Law Firm.
I know the coaches are going around the building saying, Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame. You've got to look out for that. You will be talked about forever, and you would. But Kent State's terrible.
Well, here's the thing. 2 or 3 big plays, right? You hit one of those long plays, like a slant or something.
Does Chris Brazzell have a big play?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. I'll go out on a limb, too, and say at that point, Tennessee will get better quarterback play than Georgia gets. And I know I'm talking about Nico versus Carson Beck.
Probably a better roster than Tennessee. We'll see as the season shakes out, but you can make a case for Tennessee over Alabama.
Kent State is not a very good team at all, obviously coming off a loss to an FCS team.
They are 234 games below 500 all time.
Tim Banks just threw up in his mouth.
Saturday morning. Welcome into the Sports Source Saturday Kickoff. We are here to get you ready for Tennessee's game tonight against Kent State. But we're going to be talking about Tennessee as a program. Tennessee as a football team moving forward, playoff looks. We're going to give you predictions. It's not just a tight dive deep into Kent State because it's Kent State. So a lot of Tennessee football to come right up, recruiting, you name it. I'm joined by VFL Kevin Simon, VFL Ollie Lane, who was on the team last year. Thanks to you guys for being here. We are at Rusty Wallace Kia on Callahan Drive. Folks, I bought 5 straight cars here, so you know what I think about this place. But what you need to know is you can't beat them. Meaning, if you get an offer from a Kia dealer in Anchorage, Alaska, you can bring that offer right here. They'll beat it. They'll beat it. That's what they do. Rusty Wallace Kia on Callahan Drive. So if you buy a Kia anywhere else, you've wasted money. Come see Jake Bull and all the team here, Rusty Wallace Kia on Callahan Drive. All right. First segment, we always talk about what's the biggest storyline of the day. It's called What's the Story? Well, Tennessee knocks off NC State, just put a whooping on them last week, made a big jump up the polls this week. Now everybody's talking about them being in the playoff race. Kevin Simon entering a game with the Golden Flashes, one of the worst teams, if not the worst team in FBS. What's the big storyline for Tennessee?
The biggest storyline is getting ready for the biggest game of the season, which is the Golden Flash because it's the next game on the schedule.
No,
so you're
please.
controlling
spoken like a former staff guy.
So you're controlling the controllables. You know, Coach Huepel talked about it on Vol calls every week, every Saturday. There's somebody that gets snake bitten, you know, all across the country. So staying in the moment, staying in the process, being engaged is the biggest challenge for Coach Huepel, his staff, and the players. But what I'm going to be looking for, it's really just the evolution of the offense. They went from running 11 personnel and a lot of 10 personnel sets against UT Chattanooga, a lot of open formations, kind of classic Huepel offense.
Fear and shoot.
Take those shots down the field. But against NC State, you know, listen to Joey Housley on Vol calls. You know, he talked about how they arrived to running more 12 personnel.
Yeah.
He's like, you know, about 8, 10 of us in the room. We put our heads together, and this is what we came up with as being the best way to attack our opponent, because you get a lot of drop 8, but then you get a lot of 0. So he's like, they speed the quarterback up with 0 coming after him, and then they slow him down, dropping 8. You know, we felt like going 12 personnel was the best mode to go against it. That's the first time that I've seen this staff kind of deviate from the plan.
Right.
And I loved it just because, you know, I talk about this at times. Styles make fights. There's going to be times this season where you're going to have to win a different way than what you normally do. You know, like Georgia. Georgia has DBs. They can cover our guys.
Yes.
Right? But if you come out and go 12 personnel, I'd love to see them go 13 personnel because I feel like our tight ends are more advanced than what our receivers are. If you go 13 personnel, that's going to present some problems for the opponent. So that's what I'm going to be looking for. Some of the different wrinkles. It's just more things that you're forcing your opponents to get ready for.
Well, and we've talked about it up until now. I have always thought that Josh Huepel was kind of a do what you do coach. And now some guys, that is a real hindrance. He's got such an offensive system that it hasn't hindered him. but it is good to see that he's not necessarily just a do what you do kind of coach. For those of you wondering, most of you know this, you've heard people talk about it all week. 12 personnel, that's 1 running back, 2 tight ends. 13 personnel, which is what Kevin wants to see, that's 3 tight ends out there, or at least another tackle on the field. Ollie Lane, very quickly here. Kent State, when you were a player, be honest, did you like these games, or did you want to get them over with?
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be straight honest with you. I just wanted to get these things over with. You know, I was the type of guy, like, for these kind of games, I want to get it over at noon, get home, get to prop the feet on the couch for a little bit, watch some of the good night games coming on. You know, as a player, you're sitting in the hotel all day long just to get ready for Kent State. And, I mean, I get it. It's the next biggest game because it's the next game on the schedule. But, I mean, come on, guys. It's Kent State. Like, I don't know if you felt this way when you played or coached, but, like, I was just – the earliest they could schedule that thing, I'd get up at 9 in the morning, get out there at 10, start playing if they'd let us.
Get it over with.
Yeah, just to get it over with. Yeah. I mean, there's no point in just hanging around for a team that we know we're going to win. So
very quickly, like 20 seconds. Did you like these games when you were a player?
Love them.
You just wanted it on the field. You just wanted it on the field.
Yeah, no. So I just love to compete. So you know, it's a chance for everybody to get a piece of it.
Yeah, no, I didn't want to compete.
But I mean, But I mean, obviously, you know, it's a blip on the. I mean, I don't know. Like, what am I gonna? Oh, I hate playing these games. Nah, it's the next game on schedule. So, hey, come out, conquer, dominate, and move on.
All right, very good. Tell you what, in terms of conquering and dominating, Jimmy Himes is going to get you ready for conquering and dominating Kent State. He's got a breakdown of what the Golden Flashes look like.
Thanks, John. There are 3 things that you should know about Kent State. First off, they're not very good. They've only won 1 of their last 14 games. Last week, they lost to St. Francis of Loretto, Pennsylvania, which is an FCS school. Never heard of them? I didn't think so. I hadn't either. The other thing about Kent State, they are 234 games below 500 all time. By comparison, Vanderbilt, the worst team in the SEC over the last, 84 years, is 84 games below 500. The second thing about Kent State, the Athletic ranked them last among the 134 FBS schools, number 134. Now, who's at 133? UTEP. Tennessee plays UTEP in November, so I know you can't wait to see the comparative scores when Tennessee plays Kent State versus UTEP. Another thing about Kent State, they have a motto. The motto is this: look good, feel good, play good. Well, they look good and they feel good. 2 out of 3 ain't bad, right? Finally, with Kent State, this is a team that's got several pretty good players. Every bad team has a few good players. They actually have a defender that has 3 sacks. They have a wide receiver that made first-team All-MAC a year ago. They have another receiver that's averaging 98 yards per game this year. And they got a running back that started his career with a scholarship to Minnesota. Now, I'm not going to mention their names. Why not? Well, I don't want to give Tennessee any help on the scouting report, in particular against a team that looks good and feels good.
We've got a lot more to come on today's show. We've got 16 score predictions. We've got recruiting. We've got the game plan. Come on back on the Sports Source Saturday Kickoff.
I'm Paige Dower, and we'll give you 3 reasons why Tennessee will make the college football playoffs.
I'm Josh Ward, and we are going to tell you which Vols will shine the brightest tonight.
I'm David Ubben, and I'll tell you who's ahead of Tennessee in the SEC in college football playoff watch.
And I'm Ryan Callahan. I'll tell you about 3 recruits Tennessee is hosting at Neyland Stadium tonight.
It's kickoff time in Tennessee.
Hey folks, it's Jake from Rusty Wallace Key of Knoxville, and it's time for you to score the biggest deals of the season. You can get in the end zone with up to $10,000 over KBB value for your trade. And as always, every new Kia comes with Rusty's exclusive 200,000-mile warranty. So draw up the winning play and hurry in today to get up to $10,000 over KBB value for your trade. Rusty Wallace Key of Knoxville, I-75 at Callahan Drive.
For 4 generations, A.G. Hines Company has been a pillar of the Knoxville community. And since Albert Hines Sr. opened our doors back in 1920, we've been supplying do-it-yourselfers with revolutionary products and tools. Manufactured stone is lighter, more cost-effective than traditional stone, featuring greater consistency of material and quicker installation times. Cutting-edge materials and tools at affordable prices. That's what we've provided for more than a century at A.G. Hines Company.
I was coming home and a lady hit me head on. It totaled my car, it fractured my right heel, and it bruised me up really badly. The Garza Law Firm, they were very compassionate, but yet they were very detailed. They didn't let me down. They never stopped fighting. It helped me regain confidence in law firms. I would definitely recommend the Garza Law Firm.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
A day on the lake is more than just time on the water. It's a memory, a story that can last a lifetime. And no one makes memories like Madisonville Marine. Terrific prices, first-class customer service, and the area's biggest selection of boats, like G3 John boats, Gator Tough. These rugged boats are durable and dependable, season after season. Center or side console, storage boxes. Custom design your boat for your needs. Madisonville Marine. There's no better place to buy a boat.
Chris Smith was once let down by an insurance company, so he became an agent to make sure someone is fighting for you. Shop insurance now. See how Chris can give you peace of mind and save you some money. All insurance is not equal. Trust Chris Smith Insurance.
Every Sunday morning, The Sports Source brings you 90 minutes of honest, intelligent Vols coverage. More analysts, more topics, more fun. The Sports Source, Sundays at 11 on WATE TV6 and WATE.com.
SEC play is starting to pick up in week 3. LSU and South Carolina kick things off at noon. The Gamecocks are coming off a big win over Kentucky. Then at 3:30, Texas A&M and Florida meet. Gators head coach Billy Napier is in desperate need of a win. Then things conclude with Georgia and Kentucky. The Bulldogs are the heavy favorites in this one. The Vols game, it starts tonight at 7:45 p.m. on SEC Network. Chances are you won't see the starters in the second half. We'll have a recap of this game plus the full SEC slate tonight on our SEC wrap-up show. That starts after the Georgia versus Kentucky game. We're going to send it back to you, John.
Thanks, Reese. Hey, if you're heading to Neyland Stadium today and you've got a tailgate coming up and you're 21, get out and pick up a 4-pack or an 8-pack of Freshie mixed organic tequila with seltzer in a ready-to-drink can. It's perfect, getting great reviews. Look it up online. Freshie. You're also going to see it at the Bandit Lights Bar as we go over for a segment we call The 3 Reasons with Paige Dower, Bob Hodge, Vince Ferrara, and Dave Hooker. The 3 Reasons.
Thanks, John. Now we're going to turn our attention and talk about 3 reasons why we think Tennessee will make the college football playoffs. I think obviously you have to first look on offense, led by Nico Imaliava. And just through 2 games already, we've seen that they've been able to win in a number of different ways. And I think that luxury, whether in the passing game, run game, or when he carries it himself, will prove to be the difference maker as the season progresses.
Love the versatility that you mentioned. I also love the fact that Nico, things didn't go perfectly for him against North Carolina State, so you've seen him handle adversity. I've been real high on him throughout the offseason. I think he'll live up to the hype. I think he's continued to do so and will do so, Vince, throughout the remainder of the year.
Yeah, look how much we talked about 12 personnel this week. When's the last time 12 personnel was talked about? What does 12 personnel mean? So we've talked about that. And look, now they weren't able to do that. Now the depth has allowed them to do that. Now the receivers they're blocking and competing for in blocking just to be on the field. The run game element with Nico, which they didn't really have last year. The coaching staff clearly trusts him, and they should. With so much, he can make so many of the throws. The RPO game, I mean, all those things they have so much diversity and balance in how they can win.
Well, and I also like that you're developing more depth at running back than I thought you might have.
Yeah.
I mean, Deshaun Bishop has surprised me the first 2 games. Granted, one was Chattanooga, the other one was an outmatched North Carolina State team, but still, he is looking really good. If you get Cam Seldon healthy, I think all of a sudden the depth question you had about your running backs, that's going to disappear a little bit. But all that said, I'll lean over toward the defensive side of things. Is where I think that you got reason number 2 that Tennessee's going to be in the playoff is because if you go back and you look at the history of Josh Huepel, when his team score more than 30 points, they're almost unbeatable. When they score less than 30 points, that's when they get into trouble. Well, you've got a defense this year that I think is going to hold some pretty good offenses under 30 points. So if your offense isn't clicking, if the diversification is having problems, then I think your defense is going to be good enough to still give you a better chance to win than Heupel's teams have had in the past.
And I think we saw that against NC State even. I mean, their goal each game is to have 3 turnovers or 3 takeaways. They had that against NC State. They had 13 tackles for losses. You can see Dominic Bailey had a strip sack and a fumble recovery. So you've got certain guys that kind of do it all. And I think what we saw from NC State could be really encouraging. That's kind of like the standard, right? Like that's the baseline that we could see as the season progresses.
Yeah, I think there's still a little, obviously some unknown because we don't know how good NC State's going to be down the line. However, I think that Tennessee will be favored in every game that they play for the remainder of the season, with the exception of Georgia. And I'll go out on a limb too and say at that point, Tennessee will get better quarterback play than Georgia gets. And I know I'm talking about Nico versus Carson Beck. I think Nico makes that ascension. I actually think they're really close right now. As a matter of fact, 0.2 of a point in quarterback rating. So Tennessee could still lose one of those games that they're favored in and lose against Georgia and still make the college football playoff. Frankly, I don't see how they're not in it.
Yeah, I mean, they could lose 2 games and make it. Now,
potentially.
What are the 2 games? That's part of it. But what are the ingredients of teams that win national championships or compete for them? It's quarterback play and it's defense, specifically the defensive line. You check those 2 boxes and then feel pretty good about the coaching staff, kind of to your point about the diversity. Those are, like we laid them out, those are 3 pretty good ingredients to have for a team in the playoffs.
Yeah, and even talking to Amari Thomas during their media days, he's like, our goal is to be behind the line of scrimmage. They've done that quite a bit through 2 games, and I think if they can continue to win the line of scrimmage, that's a recipe for success.
Right.
Well, and you keep going back to this. I am not going to go as far as Dave and say, you don't see how they're not going to do it. I'm also not going to go and say that Carson Beck or that Nico Iamaleava is going to catch up with Carson Beck before the end of the season, because it's a kid that you're talking about some people think could be the first player taken in the draft next year. But getting back to my reasons why and our reasons why, Tennessee's speed as a team, and especially on defense, is the best. I went back and I looked and checked some numbers. Probably 2005 was the last time you had a defense that was this caliber on paper, and they've already done it on the field. And I'm not so certain that this defense is not going to end up being better than that one, which is the best defense you'll have in 20 years. And if you start going back farther, that gets you to that 1998 defense, which I'm not going to go as far as to say, you know, a team that was loaded with professional football players. Yeah, this is as good, but I think you're getting in the neighborhood of that's the best you've been since.
But let me ask you this, Bob. With Nico and Carson Beck facing similar type of competition, one good team, one bad team, the fact that their quarterback rating is almost the same, I mean, what do you read into that? I
think Nico's been incredibly efficient so far, and I think Carson Beck's been incredibly efficient for Georgia. I think it's just too early with 3 games under your belt to be comparing you to a quarterback that some people are saying could be the first one taken in the NFL draft next year. That's a little early.
Here's the thing, though. They don't have to be better than the 98 defense. They don't even necessarily need to be Georgia. They can still get to the college football playoff by losing to Georgia and then not having a defense quite as good as 98 because it may be good enough to get them in. And I think we've laid out some reasons why they are.
Yeah, and I think at the end of the day, when we look at all our points, I think it's because they're the most complete team under Coach Josh Huepel when we kind of combine all of our points that we had here just now.
Yeah, and that's the best way to put it. This does look like a complete team right now.
Yeah.
And so before this 3 weeks ago, would I have said, yeah, they got a really good shot at the playoff? I would not have said that.
You probably didn't say that.
Bob, let me ask you this, because I like your football eye. If you had to choose between Nico and Carson Beck to start a program, who would it be?
See, to me, that's a harder question than it looks. I would right now lean Carson Beck because he has proven what he can do on a bigger stage than what Nico
That's
did.
fair. That's very fair.
If you get Nico continues on the progression he's going in, okay, I think this time next year I very well may say Nico.
Right. Well, I think those are some good reasons that we had there. When we come back, we'll head over to John, Ollie, and Kevin as they give their grades on Tennessee's position groups.
Hey folks, it's Jake from Rusty Wallace Key of Knoxville. You hear lots of offers with insane prices, unbelievable trade-in promotions, and crazy gimmicks. But aren't you tired of all that noise? Look, at Rusty Wallace Kia of Knoxville, our message is simple. We'll beat any dealership's price on any new Kia, no matter who they are, no matter where they are, period. If you don't buy your new Kia on Callahan Drive, you'll pay too much. Rusty Wallace Kia of Knoxville, I-75 at Callahan Drive.
Safety Systems, East Tennessee's top provider of home automation, security, and life safety systems.
Home and commercial security.
Camera surveillance systems specifically designed for your property. Professional monitoring, complete with emergency and after-hours response and repair. Burglar alarms for all access points. Upgrade your home or business with a single phone call to Safety Systems, East Tennessee's leader in home and commercial security systems for more than 20 years.
Whether you're watching the big game or your favorite movie, Games and Things is your ticket to the best seat in the house. It's time to get rid of that old, worn-out recliner and replace it with home theater seating from Games and Things. We offer the largest selection of quality seats at the best price in East Tennessee. With an endless variety of styles, configurations, and options, you are sure to find that perfect seat. Stop by Games and Things to upgrade your seats today at the corner of Kingston Pike and Lovell Road. Online at ourgameroom.com. Games and Things, 'cause life should be fun.
From family heirlooms to sports memorabilia, protect and showcase your treasures with custom frames and shadow boxes, each with a lifetime guarantee. Express Frame in the Common Shopping Center on North Peters Road.
So many people get their insurance through an app these days, but are you getting the best deal, the coverage you need? And when you really need that coverage, who's fighting for you? All insurance is not equal. Trust Chris Smith Insurance.
3 recruits to watch. Tennessee getting a chance to actually host some visitors this weekend for really the final chance for almost a month. So the Vols definitely looking to take advantage of this, even though it's not a marquee home game, and a pretty solid list of visitors, starting with some big-time players from the state of North Carolina. Leo Delaney, a 4-star offensive lineman. He's actually a teammate of Tennessee offensive tackle commitment David Sanders at Providence Day School. Will be back in Knoxville this weekend. He's also at Tennessee's game last week in Charlotte. Got a chance to see them play against NC State, and back in town this weekend for his 3rd visit with the Vols since February. Tennessee off to a good start in his recruitment, and a big chance for them to continue to establish themselves as one of the top contenders for him. Another highly ranked player from North Carolina, Aiden Harris, a 4-star defensive lineman, another top 100 prospect nationally. Tennessee, one of a number of teams trying to be involved in his recruitment, Ohio State and plenty of others among the heavy contenders for him in the early stages, but Tennessee potentially getting a chance to host him this weekend. That's a big deal for Tennessee, and a big-time battle there for another highly ranked player from North Carolina that Tennessee's trying to be a factor with going forward. And then another player we've talked about not too long ago, but Tyreek King, a 4-star wide receiver from over at Knoxville Catholic here locally, one of Tennessee's top in-state targets. He recently announced he'll be at Tennessee at least twice this season. This is the first of those 2 game day visits. He's coming off a trip to Texas A&M last weekend, and Tennessee, which is off to a very good start in his recruitment, will get another chance to host him this weekend. Back to you, John.
Thanks, Ryan. Ryan was talking about talent that could wind up with the Vols. In this segment, I want to talk about the talent that's already on the team. We call it checking the list. And literally this week, we have a list that we will be checking. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk position by position. We've seen these guys for 2 games now. I want to know the areas where, okay, I've seen enough. I'm all in on this group. Or are there some positions where I need to see more? I'm okay with it, but I want to see more. So I'm just going to quickly run through these. I think some of them are going to be immediate, all in, but we'll just do this for the sake of doing it. Quarterback, all in.
All in.
All in.
Everybody's all in on what we've seen from Nico. Okay. Running back, all in on the starter?
I'm all in on D-Samp for sure. I think the backup guys kind of need to figure out what their role is, who's the 2, who's the 3, next guy coming in kind of mentality. I think they all bring great talent and great effort to it, but I just kind of want to see that play out a little bit more. Who's going to get that true next guy in?
And I'm with Ollie. I still more to, like to see a little bit more. Cam Selden, how he looked against UT Chattanooga. Whoa, like this guy has a lot of ability and the chance to ascend to really one of the better backs in the conference in due time. But getting him back healthy, I know Coach Huepel said he's supposed to be in this one.
Yeah.
We've heard that before.
Yeah.
So we'll see if he's out there or not. But they got some good pieces, but definitely a little bit more meat on the bone.
I thought you saw some. I thought there was some good burst out of Sean Bishop last week.
Yeah.
And as I've said on a couple of radio shows and the TV show last Sunday, I also like the fact that he traced down
Yeah.
the defensive back for NC State on that pick six. Didn't get to him, but I like the effort.
Yeah.
Says something about the culture inside the
For sure.
program, I think. Okay, so need to see more on the running backs. Wide receiver.
I'm all in.
All in on the receiver.
So for me, I need to see more.
Yeah.
While it was great to see Thornton and Brazel show up against UT Chattanooga, and Brew and Squirrels really made the biggest impact so far this season. But just collectively, are they going to be able to get open against SEC competition? I think there's still some questions there. So,
NC State tried to sit over the top and take away your deep shot. You wonder how many teams are going to try that all year long, though. So I had a lot of people say, well, the receivers couldn't do much last week because the opponent was taking that away. Don't you think? And granted, I don't know how many people are going to run out and try and copy the game plan of a team that lost 51-10. But you've got two choices. You can take away the run or you can take away the pass. I think a lot of teams are probably going to try and mimic that, sit deep over the top.
Mm-hmm.
I just wonder if you've got guys who can make something happen in that situation, if that's what they do. So, all right. So Kevin's got wide receivers and running backs. He wants to see more. Ollie just wants to see more from the running backs. Tight ends, a group that I had big questions about going into the season. I'm all in. All three of them. I like what I've seen. You got 3 touchdowns out of those guys. Would have had a 4th if not for one call back last week. I'm all in on their tight ends. Where are you?
Yeah, I'm all in with them too. I think they've brought a new talent and skill level base to our tight end room, and now even being able to expand it into the bigger personnel is because they're almost just like another wide receiver out there that can block. So I'm all in on the tight ends.
What do you think, Kevin?
All in on the tight ends. Kitzelman, what he's brought to the table. Love him being the insert guy. It seems like the coaching staff has the most faith in him. But then also talked about Davis taking a big step from game 1 to game 2, and then Holden stays is when he's your third tight end. Yeah. That's a pretty good room.
Yeah.
All right. Offensive line. Ollie, I'll start with you since that's your old group.
I'm going to go ahead and say I'm all in on the starters. Everybody that's playing right now, I'm all in. I think they have put together a really good group of guys that go out there and play the last 2 games really well. Obviously, some mistakes penalty-wise here and there. And then, you can throw Dane Davis in there, too. He's been rotating and playing a ton. I still have questions about the depth. How much of quality depth is behind them? If something catastrophe happens, injuries are bound to happen in a season. Don't want to, knock on wood. But if it does happen, how much quality is that depth going to have to go out and win games with? Who's going to protect Nico?
Kevin, you seen enough in the offensive line, or you need to see more?
Need to see a little more. Just their ability to block and pass protection so we can take our shots. Obviously it's early in the game, but through the first 2 drives, I felt like Nico took more hits than what you'd like to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For sure. And then Van, number 1 from NC State, beat Spraggins, to
the interception.
Yeah, to get the interception, pick 6. So, just their ability to stand up and they're going to face a better defensive front than NC State. I think there's still some questions there, and I think it's part of the reason why they found themselves in 12 personnel, trying to keep a tight end in so they can hold up in protection a little better.
All right, I'm not even going to ask you. I'm guessing we're all in on defensive line.
Yes,
that looks pretty good.
Yeah, that looks pretty good.
All in on linebackers.
I'm really close to saying I'm all in. Healy and Arion Carter have done a great job. I think there's maybe some mental stuff they got to work out. Some of those penalties seemed a little ridiculous last week. But as fact of effort and playing wise, I'm all in on them.
Oh yeah, from an effort standpoint and their footwork, efficiency, all those things are great. Still like to see a little bit more. They just haven't been challenged. No one's really been able to run. No one's been able to get past the defensive line. So there's still some questions there. Aaron Carter did seem like he took a step in terms of his angles. Peely, it was good to see him play with the violence that he played with at times, striking with the top of his shoulder pads. But I'd still like to see a little bit more.
Oh, okay.
Season's young, John.
All right, very good. Defensive backs, we've got very little time, so we all want to see more from defensive backs.
Definitely want to see more.
Yeah, hasn't been proven yet. All right, special teams.
I'm all in.
Yeah.
I'm all in.
Okay.
All in.
I don't know. I'd like to see a little bit more from Max Gilbert. See what I have had to kick many field goals yet, so hopefully we keep that track.
He's hit him under 53 at least, so that's good. So Kevin wants to see more from the running backs, the receivers, the offensive line, the linebackers, and the defensive backs. You're hard to please. Ollie, the running backs, the offensive line, the defensive backs, and a little bit more on special teams. Very good. All right. When we come back, the SEC Playoff Watch. We've got prop bets for tonight's game. We've got 16 score predictions to get to. Come on back on the Saturday Kickoff.
A day on the lake is more than just time on the water. It's a memory, a story that can last a lifetime. And no one makes memories like Madisonville Marine. Terrific prices, first-class customer service, and the area's biggest selection of boats, like Hurricane deck boats. Perfecting fun on the water for more than 45 years with innovative and incredibly versatile designs. Experience freedom, laughter, and adventure on the water with Hurricane. Madisonville Marine. There's no better place to buy a boat.
I see Marco's role in the community as somebody that people can look up to.
Marcos Garza is very thoughtful. He pays attention to the needs of the people in the community.
He's somebody that's very unselfish, somebody that's gonna always be there.
Marcos Garza will work as hard as he can to get the best results for you.
In the future, no matter where I'm playing, no matter what the team I'm playing for, I'll always be on Garza's team.
The Garza Law Firm is Mama Zizi approved.
The Garza Law Firm. Let us help.
It's kickoff time in Tennessee.
Hey folks, it's Jake from Rusty Wallace Key of Knoxville, and it's time for you to score the biggest deals of the season. You can get in the end zone with up to $10,000 over KBB value for your trade. And as always, every new Kia comes with Rusty's exclusive 200,000-mile warranty. So draw up the winning play and hurry in today to get up to $10,000 over KBB value for your trade. Rusty Wallace Key of Knoxville, I-75 at Callahan Drive.
Who in the SEC is ahead of Tennessee in the college football playoff pecking order? There's only two clear teams. There's Georgia, who in week 1 demolished Clemson, and Texas, who went to the big house and delivered a beatdown to Michigan. Tennessee's kind of in that second group. Alabama struggled this week with USF. Probably a better roster than Tennessee. We'll see as the season shakes out, but you can make a case for Tennessee over Alabama. Ole Miss, again, another team. Really good roster, 2 big wins, but has not played a team to the quality that Tennessee has played after beating NC State by 41 points. That win against a top 25 opponent, although NC State fell out of the top 25, is going to leave an impression on people. NC State's still a pretty good team. To win that convincingly will do wonders with you for the committee. It's a long season, a lot of football left to play, but for right now, Tennessee is in a great position just behind Georgia and Texas for teams that, when you're coming to the SEC and you're looking for who can get in the playoff, the Vols right in the thick of it.
Thanks, David. If you are tired of watching Tennessee football in that same old recliner and that same old worn-out couch, you need to get to Games and Things. They are the home theater center for all of East Tennessee. Huge selection, wide selection. That's where I got my last 2 home theater seats. Very happy with them. Everybody I know who's gotten home theater seats at Games and Things, very happy with them. Check them out this week on the corner of Lovell Road and Kingston Pike. We are now going to the Games and Things Arena. And we got Josh Ward, we got Tyler Ivins, Chuck Cavaliers, and Will West for a segment we call The Wise Guys.
Hey, thanks, John. Fellas, we have been provided some envelopes right here on the table. There is some information inside. I'll open up mine first, if that's okay. We will react to what is on the sheet of paper looking ahead to tonight's game between Tennessee and Kent State. It's like the Oscars. Yeah. All right, on the sheet of paper, you can see right there, Nico Iamaleava against Kent State will he go over 273.5 passing yards? Because the question here includes the passing yardage. You also have to include how long you think he will play in the game to have a shot at over or under 273.5 yards.
I think that's a good number because it baits enough people in going, oh, Nico, of course he's going to go over that. This is a perfect bait trap set by Vegas. Under. I think this is an easy under. Not so far-fetched, but it's going to be an easy under. He's in the 250 range.
Yeah, I mean, in a half, 273 and a half, I'll take over.
So that's all you're giving him, 2 quarters of football tonight?
Yes. I mean, why keep him out there? We've already seen Chattanooga, it was a half, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of like what the template you've got for playing him. So I would look at, over, because that's like a Chucky C number right there.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say under. I just think that he's not going to play a lot. I don't think Tennessee's going to have to open things up. I think Kent State has problems. So I think Tennessee will work on timing in the passing game, tempo, but I don't know that he's going to throw the ball 30 times, and it's not going to be quite as easy downfield, I think, against Kent State as it was against Chattanooga.
But here's the thing. 2 or 3 big plays, right? You hit one of those long plays, like a slant or something.
Does Chris Brazzell have a big play?
Exactly. Yeah. That's the reason I would lean towards this.
Yeah, I do think there'll be a couple of big plays. I think there will be a lot of running of the football for Dylan Sampson, and then Dylan Sampson running over to the sideline so that the other guys, the backups, can get an opportunity. I think there'll be too much running and not enough time for Nico to go over. I'll go under 273.5 passing yards.
Standing out there by myself.
All right, gentlemen. Envelope number 2 has, Tennessee's first half spread, 30.5. Josh, please. Will the Vols be up by at least 31 when they go to the locker rooms at halftime?
So Tennessee goes into this game having not allowed a touchdown in 12 quarters, correct? We have to go back to the regular season of last season. I don't think there's going to be a touchdown from Kent State in the first 2 quarters. I think there will be 5+ from Tennessee. I will go over, or I will take Tennessee minus the 30.5. I'll lay the points here in the first half.
It might be over that in the first quarter.
Come on, wait.
It might be, I'm serious.
Kent State's a bad football team. They're not 31 points.
They lost to St. Francis.
They might be. They
really?
might be.
And here's the thing. I've got the first half line 45. So, yeah, over
first
that.
half line's 45. The game's 49.
Well, that line's wrong.
Yeah, I will take over on that as well. Yeah, I think Tennessee will be up like 48 heading into the half, somewhere in that neighborhood. And from there, you'll see them slow it down a little bit because they'll put the backups in, the third string in, and that won't go quite as well. But Tennessee's going to maul them early on.
Okay, I don't have oceanfront property in Kent, Ohio. Yeah, they're going to cover this spread, but not in the first quarter.
Is there actually a
Not
Kent,
the first
Ohio?
quarter, but I do think by the time you get to look, Kent State's coach has literally said, we got to learn to run the ball. We're going to work on running the ball. You're going to work on running the ball against Tennessee's defense while they're throwing up points left and right. That's a lot of 3 and outs.
Chuck, okay, 30 minutes, but not the first 15. I'll give you that. Open your envelope. Okay.
The answer is, let's see here.
31 points.
Well, I would have thought that Tyler would have learned last week.
Okay.
But lessons are still being taught.
Okay.
His hair does look moisturized, though, doesn't it?
Okay, Dylan Sampson to score game's first touchdown.
I'm going to say no. I don't think it'll be Dylan Sampson. I think it'll be a wide receiver. I think it'll probably be in a big pass play. And so I would say Dante Thornton if I had to guess, but one of the wide receivers.
I think Dylan will get them across the 10-yard line, and then maybe some kind of play action that will allow an opportunity to either Chris Brazzell, can he get in the end zone, Brew McCoy, or the tight ends. Too many options. I think Nico will look to one of those for the first score.
I'll go ahead and just break it right now. Last week you asked me about a prop bet. I'll kind of squeeze this in at the same time. We cashed with the Nico anytime touchdown. My favorite play, Brew McCoy to score a touchdown.
Yeah.
Tennessee to cover the 47.5-point spread, plus 375. When do we see Brew get in the end zone? First play, first touchdown of the game. I will say no to the Dylan Sampson because it will be Brew McCoy.
I don't think Brew McCoy plays 15 snaps in this
Well,
game.
guess what? His 13
I think they're going to
snap is
put
getting
him. All right, final one, gentlemen. Max Gilbert over 2.5 field goals. What do you have?
Over.
Josh Ward.
Over.
Oh,
Over
Chuck's
easy.
starting us.
Over easy.
Over easy.
Over
okay.
easy. That's the way I like my eggs. Over easy.
Yeah, like your Gilbert kicks. So Josh Huepel might see that a little disappointing if they have to attempt 3 field goals.
That's what I'm saying.
You still like to get him a little work. I'll say under. I'll say he hits a couple. I don't think they have 3 field goal attempts during the game.
2 field goals.
I agree.
2. The hook's in there for a reason, and it's a dirty hook.
Yeah. Look, I think that's sucker bet. I think that it's going to happen. Not that I'm calling you sucker Chuck, but I think 2 field goals is all you're going to have to attempt, if even that. Tennessee's going to score a lot. Kent State has problems, and it looks like they're quitting already week 3 of the season.
When Sean Lewis left for Boulder 2 years ago, I thought, oh, Dion, that's a fantastic hire. Kent State will keep things moving. Not only did it not work out well for Sean Lewis in Boulder, he got replaced, I think, 8 games into the first year in Colorado. Kent State, when he left, the plunger in the bathtub with the babies got pulled and it's still circling. That's an awful Kent State football team.
You know, I watched a good bit of the Pitt game. They didn't look that bad against Pitt, but then you lose to St. Francis, who did not know how to football team. Right. That's super not great.
Isn't it a statement that they kind of hung in there with Pitt in a game that they lost by 31 points?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, 55-24. Yep. Guys, listen, I watched a lot of that St. Francis red flashes against Kent State golden flashes. And let me tell you,
broke down the film for us.
I've seen better Class A state championship games than what they were doing. It was this may be the worst team to ever play in Nance Daily.
And Tennessee will beat them by 31-plus points in the first half tonight, we have learned in today's segment. So that's our Wise Guys look at the game for tonight. Coming up next, John, Kevin, and Ollie will look at the game. They'll give you the game plan for Tennessee and Kent State.
Whether you're watching the big game or your favorite movie, Games and Things is your ticket to the best seat in the house. It's time to get rid of that old, worn-out recliner and replace it with home theater seating from Games and Things. We offer the largest selection of quality seats at the best price in East Tennessee. With an endless variety of styles, configurations, and options, you are sure to find that perfect seat. Stop by Games and Things to upgrade your seats today at the corner of Kingston Pike and Lovell Road. Online at ourgameroom.com. Games and Things, 'cause life should be fun.
Safety Systems, East Tennessee's top provider of home automation, security, and life safety systems.
Home automation.
Our expert technicians can turn your home into a smart home, allowing you to control and monitor everything from lighting and climate to entertainment systems, security systems, and even appliances, all from your phone or tablet. Upgrade your home with a single phone call to Safety Systems, East Tennessee's leader in home automation for more than 20 years.
Chris Smith was once let down by an insurance company, so he became an agent to make sure someone is fighting for you. Shop insurance now. See how Chris can give you peace of mind and save you some money. All insurance is not equal. Trust Chris Smith Insurance.
From works of art to family photos, enhance the beauty and protect your memories with custom frames, museum-quality glass, and guaranteed craftsmanship. Express Frame in the Common Shopping Center on North Peters Road.
Hey folks, it's Jake from Rusty Wallace Key of Knoxville. You hear lots of offers with insane prices, unbelievable trade-in promotions, and crazy gimmicks, but aren't you tired of all that noise? Look, at Rusty Wallace Key of Knoxville, our message is simple. We'll beat any dealership's price on any new Kia, no matter who they are, no matter where they are, period. If you don't buy your new Kia on Callahan Drive, you'll pay too much. Rusty Wallace Key of Knoxville, I-75 at Callahan Drive.
Captain's Corner this week, how do you take a Kent State that has a 1% chance to win? How do you take them seriously? I know the coaches are going around the building saying, Northern Illinois beat Notre Dame, you've got to look out for that. You will be talked about forever, and you would. But Kent State's terrible. You know that as a player. You see the film. You see what they've done. So how do you make this interesting? How do you keep the team motivated as a captain? When we had these kind of games, we kind of played little games within the game. Like the second team is going to do more than the first team. So you make it a competition. Make a bet. I bet the second team scores more points than the first team. I bet the second team defense gets more sacks than the first team defense, right? Create an environment within yourself to be competitive, because Kent State's not going to be a challenge. You should go out there and just blow them out. The biggest challenge now is don't look too far ahead, because you got a big game against Oklahoma, but play and have fun Saturday night, Neyland Stadium. Get away with the W and have fun with your teammates. See if you can beat them. That's how you do it. John, back to you.
Thanks to former Vol captain Mike Stoll right there. This segment brought to you by the Garza Law Firm. Folks, if you find yourself in a legal bind, you want to go with a local attorney, someone who knows the local judicial system, the people involved. That's a huge leg up for you and your case. And if you're going local, Marcos Garza is the local attorney to call. His whole team is fantastic. You can learn more about them at garzalaw.com. This segment, which they bring you, is called What's the Game Plan? Ollie, I'm going to start with you, since you were the most recent one over there working with Josh Huepel. You've got Oklahoma next week. You got Kent State tonight. A lot of players, if I asked them, they would tell me, oh, no, I'm focused on Kent State. But I'm going to, now that you're a year away, I'm going to put the spotlight on you. Be honest, would you have already looked ahead to Oklahoma at this point? Would you? Okay.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm just going to be completely honest with you. I would have already at least watched a couple third down tape and break down some of their individual D linemen and stuff like that. And it's not as much of jumping the gun and getting way ahead of the opponent that we've got this week. It's just giving yourself a little information when you're still dialing in and locking in on all your stuff and your keys for this game. But at the end of the day, you understand who your opponent is, and you understand that if you just go out and take care of business, you're going to be fine. It's not going to hurt you to kind of get ready to know what you're going to expect over the next week.
Yeah, I mean, Kent State is not Northern Illinois. It's not a team that has a history of biting people in the rear end. It's not a team that has a decent, just history, period. As Jimmy Hines broke down earlier, this is one of the worst programs in college football and has been for many years. So there's no teeth to the trap in what could be a trap game. That said, does Josh Huepel approach this differently in any way? Does he actually talk to the team about this? Does he just go on and try and treat it like a regular opponent? Or does he address the fact that, I know what you're thinking. Yes, this team doesn't look good, but...
Yeah, I mean, basically you hit it right on the head there. I mean, he's still going to treat it like a regular game, like, hey, next game, biggest game, because it's the next opportunity we get to play. But at the end of the day, he's not going to act stupid to his team. He's going to be realistic with them, like, look, this is the opponent we got, not a lot of threat. We shouldn't have to worry about them. So, I mean, he turns the narrative. He's like, look, it's not Tennessee versus Kent State this week. And I know I've said it on here before, but it's Tennessee versus Tennessee. It's that continuous battle and struggle to be better than you were the last week, because you're only as good as the last product that you put out there. What they put out there last Saturday against NC State looked good, so what they put out there today against Kent State needs to look even better than that.
Gotcha. Kevin, as someone who's been on Tennessee staff over there and as a player at Tennessee, what are you looking for? What are they trying to accomplish tonight? You put one of these crummy teams on your schedule. What are you trying to accomplish? If that coaching staff, if we could give them some truth serum, they would say, I want to do A, B, and C. What are A, B, and C?
Just keep your foot on the gas pedal, creating explosive plays in the pass game, run the football efficiently, which you've been doing through the first two matchups. And then on the other side, getting after the quarterback, dominating the run. One thing that Rodney Garner says that we're going to trample the run on the way to the quarterback. So it's all about getting vertical and creating explosive plays. Linebackers being efficient with your keys, your steps, tackling, tackling collectively, swarming to the football, getting guys on the ground, and then limiting the amount of deep plays in the back end, which we've done so far this season. So, I think with the competition between each position room, there's more guys, more players. Coach Huepel's talked about the depth of this team, of this being the deepest team that he's had. I think it's gotten some guys to perform at a higher level or to keep their feet on the gas pedal, because not only are they trying to compete to be their best, but they also got somebody behind them who could overtake them for time and snaps. And as we know, everybody wants to play.
Yeah. How long do you guys leave the starters in here? Last week on the Sports Source, Marlon Walls said that he liked these games because he knew he'd be taking his pads off and untaping by about the end of the first quarter. When should guys be coming off the field tonight, your starters?
I think halftime. Nico got out of the game halftime against Chattanooga. This is a similar type opponent, so I think you let everybody get a bite of the apple, just like you had in previous games.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think you'll see the whole two-deep squad come out and start the second half. I think you might see some guys fall out earlier in the first quarter. Like, I'm sure they're not going to let James go out there and play just to get cut. Yeah. They're going to protect their guys, but also let them still get some juices flowing tonight. So.
All right, very good. Appreciate that, fellas. When we come back, score predictions from everyone you've seen in today's show. So, yeah, it's going to take a while. Get ready, set your clocks, get your gambling app out, because we've got 16 picks coming your way next on the Saturday Kickoff.
For 4 generations, A.G. Heinz Company has been a pillar of the Knoxville community. And since Albert Heinz Sr. opened our doors back in 1920, we've been supplying do-it-yourselfers with revolutionary products and tools. With Nudura insulated concrete forms, your project will be both rock solid and more energy efficient than steel or wood structures. Cutting-edge materials and tools at affordable prices. That's what we've provided for more than a century at A.G. Heinz Company.
A day on the lake is more than just time on the water. It's a memory, a story that can last a lifetime. And no one makes memories like Madisonville Marine. Terrific prices, first-class customer service, and the area's biggest selection of boats like Skeeter bass boats. For more than 75 years, generations of anglers have trusted Skeeter, the best engineered boats on the water. Ensure a smooth, dry, safe trip to your favorite fishing hole. Madisonville Marine. There's no better place to buy a boat.
It's kickoff time in Tennessee.
Hey folks, it's Jake from Rusty Wallace Key of Knoxville, and it's time for you to score the biggest deals of the season. You can get in the end zone with up to $10,000 over KBB value for your trade. And as always, every new Kia comes with Rusty's exclusive 200,000-mile warranty. So draw up the winning play and hurry in today to get up to $10,000 over KBB value for your trade. Rusty Wallace Key of Knoxville, I-75 at Callahan Drive.
From family heirlooms to sports memorabilia, protect and showcase your treasures with custom frames and shadow boxes, each with a lifetime guarantee. Express Frame in the Common Shopping Center on North Peters Road.
Every Sunday morning, The Sports Source brings you 90 minutes of honest, intelligent Vols coverage. More analysts, more topics, more fun. The Sports Source, Sundays at 11 on WATE TV6 and WATE.com.
Welcome back to Rusty Wallace Kia on Callahan Drive. Spectacular place to buy yourself a new Kia. Get down to see them this week. In this segment, we're going to do our predictions. 16 of them coming your way. It's brought to you by Chris Smith Insurance. When I buy a car here at Rusty Wallace Kia, I get it insured by Chris Smith. Chris does a great job because, one, he's a farmer's agent, but he's also an independent agent, which means he can give you the best of both worlds. If you don't fit or can't find the right policy through farmers that you like, he's got other options he can bring you as an independent agent. You're not going to find more options or a better way to get insured than through Chris Smith Insurance. Check him out this week. All right, time for 16 predictions from all over our show today. Everyone who's been involved. We call it Who, How, and Why.
All right, guys, prediction time. I'm going to say the Vols win. I'm going to say they win by a lot. 62-0. I think Tennessee blows them out in the first half, and they continue to add on and shut down Kent State in the second half.
Give me 66-9. I like the Vols by a lot. The reason behind it is I just think you'll see Nico early. You'll see the ones early. This, to me, is the last chance before you get to November to find out where your depth is. We'll see a lot of those reserves. So what's up, Gaston Moore, and what's up, Jake Mertlinger?
Let's make it, of course, the Vols win. Just picking a number out of the air, 68-3. Enjoy your tailgate, everybody.
69-7. There's a touchdown scored in this game by a Tennessee opponent.
Okay.
69-7. They're going to do it, and I don't think Tennessee quite breaks 70.
Tim Banks just threw up in his mouth.
Tennessee gets the win against Kent State. Now, I saw an earlier point spread of 64.5 from the Chucky C Note Casino. I don't think it'll be that one-sided, but I do think Tennessee will run out of fireworks. Tennessee 62, Kent State 3.
All right, score prediction for the Kent State game. I think Tennessee does what they should do, score plenty of points. I do think Tennessee's defense finally gives up an offensive touchdown. Score is going to be 62-10.
I'm not sure what to even say the Vols will control in this game because they will dominate in all aspects. The key to the game, stay healthy and make sure you tune everything up before Oklahoma. Tennessee wins this game 55-3, then we can worry about what really matters.
My pick for this week, Kent State has really struggled early on in year 2 under Kenny Burns. They lost last week to St. Francis, Pennsylvania, an FCS team. I like the Vols to win convincingly and win big, but take the foot off the pedal a little bit in the second half. I think the Vols win this game 61-10, cover, but the second half is not going to be the prettiest football you've ever seen. I think a lot of running, a lot of trying to get the clock run down and get out of there.
Tennessee's opened the season with a couple blowout wins. I think this is definitely going to be another. Kent State is not a very good team at all, obviously coming off a loss to an FCS team. This should be a game where Tennessee gets its backups a lot of playing time. It's a disappointment, honestly, if they don't. I'll take the Vols 63-3.
I think Tennessee's going to win this game. I don't think it'll be close regardless who's out there, but I'm thinking my final score is going to be something like 52-0. I don't think Nico Imaliava is going to be in the entire game, maybe not even beyond the first quarter. And then that defense, I mean, they've not given up really much of anything the last 12 quarters of action. That's going to be true again these next 4 quarters.
I'm going to go with 57-6 because I think this is going to be one of the worst teams Neyland Stadium has seen in a long, long time. They'll live up to the billing, and I think Nico plays not even an entire half.
Yeah, he shouldn't play. Beyond that, 63-0 Tennessee. Kent State just lost to St. Francis, Pennsylvania. And a lot of preseason rankings had them as the worst FBS team.
Yeah.
They have a couple of offensive linemen at 265 pounds. Going up against that D-line, yeah, that's going to be a problem for them to run.
I think it's the worst team to come into Neyland Stadium, kind of playing off what Bob said since Louisiana Monroe. And they beat that team 70-3, and it could have been 150-0 if they wanted it to. So I'll go with that score. We'll see how it plays out because the second and third stringers in some cases are going to be every bit as good as the first stringers on the other side. So I'll take 70-3. I'll do a repeat score to what Law Monroe did.
Thanks to all those folks, I think Tennessee could score as many as they want tonight. Part of it depends on how many times Kent State turns the ball over. Do you return a kick with a backup? All that kind of stuff. I'll just say 55-7. We're all throwing darts at this point. Tennessee 55, Kent State 7. Kevin Simon.
59-6, go Vols.
Short and sweet.
Yeah.
What do you got, Ollie?
Yeah, no, I'm taking the ball 70-3. Just one simple message: go out and take care of the business today.
70-3. All right. Here's my question for you guys. One thing I noticed last week, or at least it stood out to me, is you've just got better athletes than you've had. It looks like Josh Huepel's got more to work with. I mean, we saw this. You've got a freshman class that was top 10 in the nation in the signing class. You got what looks like a top 5, top 6 class could be coming up next year. But it appears right now that the level of athlete is improving at Tennessee.
Yeah, I would agree with that. More athleticism at the tight end position, more speed and range at inside linebacker in the secondary. So, yeah, I think your eyes aren't deceiving you.
Very good. That's good to hear that from an NFL scout. What do you think? You've been over there. You watched the talent rise a little bit while you were there. Your thoughts, Ollie Lane?
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, they're getting a lot better athletes over there. I mean, not that we weren't in the past, but, you know, they're doing a good job. And then what Kurt Schmidt does with that strength and conditioning program is just outstanding. I mean, he's been able to develop these athletes into better athletes. So
very good. Ollie Lane, Kevin Simon, thanks as always, guys. Thanks to you for watching. You got LSU versus South Carolina coming up right here next. You've got 6 on Your Side post-game coverage after tonight's game right here on Channel 6. And then tomorrow, 11 a.m., we've got our normal crew for the Sports Source, and we're going to be live, but part of us is going to be live at Smoky Stadium. Tomorrow is the last game ever at Smoky Stadium up there. Channel 6 is going to be broadcasting the game. We're going to be there live at 11 a.m. We're still going to have some people back in the studio as well. It's going to be a monster show. We haven't done live on the road in a long, long time. So tune in and see what mayhem befalls us. And have a good game today. We will see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. on the Sports Source. Thank you.
The Sports Source Saturday Kickoff is presented by Rusty Wallace Kia of Knoxville on Callahan Drive and by the Garza Law Firm.